Hey fishing fans, this is Debbie Hansen for TakeMeFishing.org, and today we're just going to talk a little bit about safe fish handling and storage practices. In other words, you've been out on the water, you've had an awesome day of fishing, you've caught a few fish that are within the regulations. What do you need to do to make sure that when you get home that fish is going to retain the best flavor and that it's going to be safe and healthy for you to eat? Well, here's a few tips. First and foremost, when you get home, you want to make sure that your preparation area is clean and sanitized. And that includes any utensils, that includes any plates or dishes, that includes your hands. And then you want to make sure that any utensils or any plates you're using for the raw seafood or for your raw fish aren't going to be used for any ready-to-eat foods or raw foods. So in other words, if you're planning on serving a salad or some raw vegetables, you want to make sure you keep those utensils and those plates completely separate. Now, a lot of people will also ask, all right, I caught a fish, I'm going to bring it home. How long can I store it in the refrigerator before I need to eat it? Well, you need to remember that fish is going to taste the best if you bring it home and cook it the same day. So if you go out in the morning and you have a great day on the water and you bring that fish home, try to cook it that night for dinner. That's when it's going to taste the absolute best. If you do need to store it in the refrigerator, then you want to make sure you're storing it at 40 degrees Fahrenheit or colder, and you don't want to store it any longer than 3 days. Now, when you are cooking that fish, how long or at what temperature do you need to make sure that you're cooking that fish? How do you know when that fish is done, essentially? Well, you want to make sure you're cooking that fish to an internal temperature of 145 degrees. And that means when the thickest part of that fillet, you use a meat thermometer and you test it, you make sure it's at 145 degrees, and also that fish will flake easily with a fork and that the inside is completely opaque. That means that fish is done. You don't want to see any translucency in that fillet. And then from there, you just want to make sure when you're serving that meal, after you're done serving it, that within 2 hours after serving that fish, you're boxing it up and you're storing it back in the refrigerator. That's basically it. Just a few helpful tips for you in terms of proper fish handling and storage. Happy fishing. Just go ahead and head on over to the how to store fresh caught fish section at TakeMeFishing.org.